joining us and spending some time with us today. We are really excited to go over our certification management solution for you, especially in the pertinent times that we're in. My name is Tyler Smythe. I've been at Greenshades for almost 6 years now, primarily in the marketing department. We also have Katie McGuinness, one of our product managers, and Amber Manuel, she's in our sales department. They'll be joining us later on. Katie will be presenting this webinar for you. So a couple of housekeeping items before we get going. There will be a poll within the webinar, and there'll be a survey after the webinar. It's really helpful, and we really value your feedback. So if you could spend a couple of seconds and fill those out, it's greatly appreciated. We have not uploaded the handout in the webinar today just because it has a lot of media in it and it will just be blank screens for you. So we're going to actually do a recap of the webinar and send you all a recording after the fact, so you have all the information there. In the GoToWebinar toolbar, you'll see a questions and or a questions box. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please just place them in there. There'll be a slide at the end where we'll address the questions that we can if we have enough time. If there are really specific questions that are focused, very much on your specific needs, we'll actually reach back out directly to you. But anything that's pertinent to the audience, we'll cover at the end. So a little bit about Greenshades. I see the attendees and I recognize a few of you. We've got some clients, we've got some new people here. So I'll just give you a brief of what Greenshades does and who we are. So we have been a leading payroll, HR, taxation and compliance company for around 15 years. We've pivoted recently and we're now really entrenched in a complete payroll package, end-to-end solution, a unified solution for your business, ERP agnostic. But a lot of you will know us from the plugins that we traditionally have done related to compliance and HR and benefits that plug into accounting packages like GP. We have 4,000 clients across North America, and a stat that I really like is the 2+ million tax forms that we print every year. So we're really proud of that. Obviously we do electronic as well, but the people that can't have them, we send them recipient copies. And basically the experts here at Greenshades, we really love talking to the IRS. So you don't have to, basically. So that's a brief about Greenshades. Just a little caveat before we get started. This is not to be misconstrued as legal advice. We do partner with My HR Counsel if you want to reach out to them or use your own legal team that you would usually. This is informational but not to be misconstrued. So without further ado, I'd like to pass you over to Katie, one of our senior product managers here on staff, and she will take it away for you.
Thank you, Tyler. Hi, everyone. My name is Katie McGuinness. As Tyler mentioned, I'm a senior product manager here at Greenshades. I'm mostly over the employee services product. So anything from onboarding to benefits to evaluations, really anything that has to do with an HR office. So that is some of the products that I oversee, and I have been really lucky to be over this new certification management product. I've been with Greenshades since 2019, so still fairly new in the Greenshades world, but have really enjoyed my time here so far. Just a fun fact about me, I am a dog mom to 2 lovely dogs, a black lab named Travis and an Australian Shepherd named Lacey. I also work from home, so if at any point I have to mute myself because of barking, I apologize. But let's get to the main event. So just a little bit about certification management. Why did we go ahead and create something new and create certification management? What was the goal here? So we have a bunch of different products such as documents and the employee's profile that house a lot of important information for our employees. However, we don't really have anything that is as compliance heavy in tracking expiration and issue date, and things that are so important in the world of certification management. So this is things like managing, your employee certifications, their licenses, any vaccination records, anything that is really required for them to be clear to work. for the job that they are doing for your organization. So we wanted something, knowing that compliance is such a large aspect in this, we wanted something new that was really going to be based in that compliance realm and have that tracking and reporting that people would be looking for with that. So first bullet point, expiry tracking is really the biggest thing. So we have, tracking that is off of that expired date, off of that issue date. If we're talking about vaccinations, off of your booster dates. So anything of that nature is fully baked into this new module. And there's a lot of visual reporting and automation that is done in the back end to support that. Right off the start, we are supporting a few different versions of different types of certifications. So we've got the certification type, we've got licenses. So this is, your doctor's license, your nursing license, your driver's license, whatever it may be for the employees that you have. We support vaccinations. And then we have a larger category called other, which is really any sort of other type of compliance documentation. And this will support anything from, a physical examination or anything else with some sort of, annual or biannual requirement to have that be updated in some sort of fashion. And then, as I mentioned, we definitely wanted more enhanced reporting with this since it is so compliance heavy. We wanted, a dashboard. We wanted people to have visuals, really feel like they were never in the dark with where their employees' work status was at. So making sure that if there was anything expiring, that they would have full visibility in the system and be able to take action on those items. And then just like any of our other modules, this is fully integrated into the Greenshades platform. So it is utilizing your employee's profile information. It is integrated into the system. So there is, that administrator component with the oversight and the reporting. And then if you would like, there's that employee side, so the employee self-service, like so many other of our modules. And then coming very soon will be a manager aspect as well. So having those managers be integrated into this process, having that oversight and any sort of approvals you'd want to be able to provide. So Tyler, on to the poll question.
Absolutely, let me launch that. And your feedback is really valuable to us, guys, so we appreciate you taking a second to do this for us. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds and then we'll close and Katie can continue. All right, thank you so much, guys.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and continue. So what I'm going to do now is just give an overview of what the new module looks like. I've got a couple of videos I'm going to be showing, kind of talking through as far as functionality and look and feel goes. So we do support a multitude of workflows, kind of depending on your organization. We have a lot of configurability within this module, and taken a lot of feedback that we've gotten from our clients through our other modules and how they end up working with them, especially things like our documents features. So to start, we know that a lot of our clients have large compliance requirements that might be broad to a lot of their employees. So they want to be able to assign either a certificate or a license to a large set of employees at a time, whether you have large onboarding classes and you want to make sure that you don't have to go in and individually add one to each of your employees. You want the system to be able to automate that for you based on the information that we already have. So we do have that ability here in the certification management settings. So you can create what we call templates for any of our types of documentation, and then I'll kind of walk through what that looks like. Right, so here I'm going to go ahead and add a vaccination template. So I go ahead and I just choose my type. And the first thing I'm going to do is just add a name. So this is going to be my COVID-19 vaccination template. And then I can go ahead and either mark whether it's going to be required for the employee or not. And that's going to work in our back-end engine to figure out statuses and things of that nature. Secondly, you can choose either that administrator workflow or the employee workflow. So if you want to notify the employee that they need to complete something, you can do that. Or you can say, hey, my administrator is the only people that can update these documents. And you can say, hey, only the admin is going to be doing that for me. Next is that auto assignment process I was talking about. So you can choose based on position, like that 4 different positions need this specific item, Or you can say, nope, actually all of my employees should have this, and that is absolutely an option as well. So that's what I'm going to do for this example. And then I move forward onto my settings. So this is both expiration and permission settings. Pause it for a brief minute. So we have a very configurable expiry settings based on who you want to notify that this document is going to be expired. So for things like vaccinations, if you absolutely need them to work and you need the employee to know about it, you want to send them a notification, 30, 60, 90, 15 days in advance, you can go ahead and do that, and we will support notifications via email or via text message if they opt into text messages. You can also notify your administrators. So if you need the administrators to know that this is going to be expiring, you can do that. And then, once we have the manager aspect up and running, you can also notify managers. So you can turn those on and off and configure what you want them to be to make sure that all of your employees and NHR office are aware when things are coming to an end. And then as far as permissions go, I mentioned we have that administrator and employee workflow. So if you want to turn that employee workflow off, you say, hey, my employees should never be touching this information, you can turn that off and they will never be able to update any of these. And if you say, hey, I do want my employees to be able to do this, I want to be able to assign them to them, they're the one with the information, they have the documentation, you can go ahead and turn that functionality on. Employees can only update in specific instances in which they need to input information, such as something that is incomplete or expired. They cannot just update anytime willy-nilly. So there is still that compliance aspect to it, we understand. And then you can always have approvals as well. So we have that with a lot of other features. If you say, hey, my administrator or my manager needs to approve this before it goes into a clear active state, you can always have that setting on as well. Turn the video back on so you'll be able to see that. I'm going to adjust a couple of these dates. And then you can go ahead and add the template. When you add the template, our system is automatically assigning this document, whether it is vaccination, certification, license, to all of the employees that fall into those categories. So it's automatically going to be there. There is nothing that you have to do. If you have a new employee onboarding, they're automatically going to get all of the certifications, licenses, vaccinations, and other type documents immediately onto their profile, so you don't have to add them. Now, what you just noticed is I just added a COVID-19 vaccine. Here's the employee's card now. So this is my employee card for Guido. He now has an incomplete COVID-19 vaccine. So I'm going to show you the administrator workflow. As I had chosen for the employee to not complete this, I wanted the administrator to. So in this instance, all I'm going to be doing is clicking update details. Administrator can do this at any time, and they can enter the details for this specific vaccination. So that is the date given, any sort of booster dates, and then they can attach any supplementary documentation, such as a vaccination card in this situation, or if there's any sort of documentation that is associated with the vaccination or certification or whichever type it is. You can double check any of the permissions or expiry, and then you can go ahead and save it. One thing you will notice really quick is the history section. So with each of these documents, again, knowing it's so compliance heavy, we've gone ahead and added an auditing trail for each of them. So this is going to be available to all of our administrators at all times. It's going to note who did something, what they did, and when they did it. So you will never be out of sync or unaware. If you notice something change, you're like, hey, that looks weird. It's always going to be visible what change was made, when it was made, and who made it. So you have full auditing capabilities of this documentation, again, understanding it's so compliance heavy. And then you'll notice the status changed as well. So it's now in a clear active status. Our system went ahead, they checked the dates, checked to make sure all the information was in there, and it said, yep, good to go. Automatically put it as clear active. You notice a couple different statuses in this screenshot right here. So our system is constantly running at all times to check dates, to check issued dates, check expiry dates, to make sure that this correct status is shown for all of your documentation. So if something is good to go, there's no expiring soon, it's going to go ahead and show it as clear active. That's in the green. Green means go. If something is going to expire soon, so it's in that date range where you're saying, hey, I'm a little nervous, I want my employee to be aware, or myself to be aware, my administrators, my managers to be aware that something's about to expire, you can go ahead and it's going to say expiring soon. It's in that orange color, so not quite an issue yet, but something to be aware of. And then if something is either, as you saw before, incomplete or expired and absolutely needs to be updated, it's going to be in a red status. So it's very, very clear what your employee's compliance is when you look at their employee card. Okay, so that was kind of the mass template auto assignment process. However, we do also allow, which I know isn't done within some of our other modules, and we took that feedback to heart. We wanted the ability to add something one-off. So if you want to go ahead, you've onboarded your employee, they have all of their required certifications, they go ahead on their own, they get a new certification, they want to be able to house it inside of the system, or you have something one-off for this given employee that they absolutely need to work, and you don't want to add it as a template and have it assigned to a bunch of people, you say, hey, I just want it for this person, you can go ahead and do that. So in this instance, you've got this little plus sign on the employee's card. You can choose either something that exists if there is a template, or as I said, you can create something totally new. So in this case, it's going to be a flu vaccine. You're saying, yep, I still want it to be required. I either want the administrator, or in this case, I'm going to choose the employee, and I'm going to, the employee's email is there and their notification email. And then you do the same thing with the settings and permissions. You go ahead and set that. As you can see here, now it is incomplete on this employee's profile. And what has happened is the employee has now received a notification that they have a new vaccination on their Green Employee account that they need to complete. So they're getting that email sent to their notification email. You don't have to do anything at this time. As I said, the administrators can always update. They always have that ability, but this is kind of making it a little bit easier if you like it to be a little bit easier on you in your workday for the employee to enter that information themselves. So I'm going to go to his Green Employee profile here. Under Documents, we have a new section called Certifications. So this is where his certifications are going to live. Here's where he's going to see his flu vaccine. So we can go ahead and update the details here, provide any information he needs to let you know, hey, I do have my flu vaccine. Here are the credentials for it. And then I save it. Because I had that needs approval as being on in the settings of my flu vaccine when I went ahead and added it to his profile, it's automatically going into a needs approval process. And I'll show you what that kind of looks like from an oversight perspective. But it's not going to go into clear active. As I said, there's going to be those stop gaps to make sure that the administrator is fully aware at all times what is happening for all of their employees' compliance in the system. So moving forward, I'm going to show you a little bit of the reporting and oversight. So here's our new oversight and reporting dashboard. Pause it for a brief moment to just kind of explain what you're seeing here. So we wanted to make sure that the biggest and most important numbers were at the top for your full visibility. So things like, hey, this is expired, your employee might be out of compliance, is right at the top in red for you to see and take action on. So these are any expired certifications. Right next to that is anything that is going to be coming expired. Is not expired yet, they are good to go, but it's something that we'll need action on in the next 30 days. That's right after. And then anything that is clear and active within your system is going to be displayed in that green at the far right. Section underneath it is all of those approvals. That's what I was kind of referring to when we just had the employee enter their information. That's going to exist now, and the administrator is going to be able to go in, similar to a lot of our other employee services modules, we'll be able to go in and approve or deny those employee changes. So again, there is that stopgap before it goes straight into clear active of the administrator being able to double check all the information. And at the bottom, you'll notice all the reports that are available. So there is a very comprehensive reports that the administrator can pull and save and customize, and I'll kind of go through those in a minute. We'll go ahead and go through kind of an approval. So the administrator can either approve or deny the employee's changes. If they do choose to deny, they will be able to send notes to the employee. Again, something that isn't exactly existing in some of our other modules, but we did want to take that feedback into consideration with this. In this instance, I've just gone ahead and approved it. But as you can see, the line item was added that the administrator reviewed it and approved it. It's good to go, exact date and time, exactly what was done. And then as you can see, the previous items that were also there. Now let's go into that reporting. So you click one of these reporting buttons, it's going to pull up a report that is specific to those items. So if you want to see all of the vaccinations within your system, all the certifications, all of the licenses, anything that is incomplete, you can go ahead and see that in a report. So this is just one of the examples. You can filter it. So if you say, hey, I only want my vaccinations and I only want my COVID-19 vaccinations, you can go ahead and do that. and then you can go ahead and save it similar to some of the other reports within our product. You can save it, customize it, and it will be available in your report section at all times with the additions that you made. So we also allow for adding different columns. So if you need to have the information by position, or you need it by work location, such as, you know, I know for a lot of people that have remote employees versus on-site employees, they want to kind of filter the information by that, they can do so. So you can add a bunch of fields and filter based on a lot of this information. And then save it for you to have at any point in time, so you don't have to kind of go in and make those filters again. So that is kind of the certification management module as a whole. As I mentioned, we support multiple workflows. So you want that mass assignment, hey, I have something that needs to go out to a bunch of employees, there's a way to do that. If you have something and you just want to assign it to one employee, you can do that. And then you can support either whether you want the employee to complete things or you want the administrator only to complete them. And then from the administrator's perspective, a full 360-degree view of their compliance at any point in time, be able to take action on items that need action taken on them, and then just be able to pull reports to pull from our system, either if you want to print it, download it, export it, to be able to manipulate that data for your organization. That is kind of the presentation. If there are any questions, we can go ahead and answer those now. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in. All right, I'm not seeing any questions. However, if you do have any questions on any of the functionality I showed today, or if you have any more specific questions around what it could handle, feel free to email us, sales@greenshades.com, or you can call the number listed there. We also have, if you would like to talk to someone individually, we do have a link that we're going to be sending out to be able to schedule a call about this, if you would like to speak to one of our sales representatives. All right, Tyler, back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Casey. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. We will be reaching out to you with a recording of the webinar. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Hope you will have a lovely rest of your day and
Thank you,
weekend.
everyone.